Salamat pagi dan salamat dating adi India. I welcome all of you to India, a land which believes in the precepts of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. I also welcome all of you to Delhi, a city whose heritage reflects the full range of India's traditions of unity in diversity, religious tolerance, and interfaith harmony. Before I go further, I want to say how saddened we all feel by the loss of precious lives and damage to property from the recent earthquake in Indonesia. Our deepest condolences to the victims and their families. We wish a speedy recovery to the injured. India stands with Indonesia in this hour of grief. Ladies and gentlemen, I fondly recall my visit to Indonesia in March this year and my interaction with His Excellency Minister Mahfood. I was happy when Minister Mahfood accepted my invitation to visit India later this year. Excellency, it's an honor to host you and your delegation in India. We take pride in our relations with Indonesia, which has been elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership in recent years. Against the backdrop of tectonic shift in the global order, India and Indonesia, given their rich history, diversity, shared traditions, and increasing bilateralism, have the potential to enhance prospects of peace, regional cooperation, and prosperity in Asia. Our economic and defense engagements are also progressing rapidly for the greater good of our shared neighborhood. Your visit today is a very important milestone in our emerging and promising relationship. I would also like to place on record my appreciation to Mr. Sirajuddin Qureshi, President of the India Islamic Cultural Center, for organizing this dialogue today. Excellency, India is an important partner. Indonesia is an important partner in India's extended neighborhood, and our two countries share many complementarities. We have had vast and extended cultural, economic, and spiritual contacts for 1600 years up to the 14th century. These contacts showed us the value of openness, engagement, and respect for diversity. In the 7th century, India's Malabar coast became the meeting point for Arab and Indonesian traders, from where they transmitted Islam to Southeast Asia. It is said that Javis from Indonesia had great influence in trade in Calicut. Similarities have also been found in the early Muslim settlements of peninsular India and Indonesia. The Cholas too had extensive trade and cultural contacts between India and Indonesia. Excellency, we are both flourishing democracies in the Indo-Pacific region. The waters that lap the shores of Indonesia also lap our shores. We have historical and cultural linkages and extensive people-to-people ties. Tourism has been an important bridge of cooperation between our two countries. Before the pandemic, 5 lakh Indians visited Bali every year, while the Taj Mahal is a major tourist attraction in India. In Indonesia, people visit Hindu temples like Prambanan, which is a very, very important point for us. This is a shining example of our tolerant and syncretic cultures. We are both home to the world's largest Islamic populations. Indonesia is the world's largest Islamic country, and India is home to the third largest Muslim population. Much like in India, Islam in Indonesia was spread by traders from present-day Kerala and Gujarat and Sufis from Bengal and Kashmir. This peaceful spread led to the development of a syncretic culture where not only pre-Islamic religions flourished side by side, but age-old traditions and local customs greatly influenced religious practices. Today, in this hall, we may speak different languages, but we share a common desire for peace and harmony. Our dialogue today is a vital medium to help us achieve that objective. Excellency, it is crucial that we share and understand the historical and cultural context of Islam in our respective countries, which had peaceful and tolerant underpinnings. It is significant that Islamic theological schools of Deobandism, Barelvism and Sufism took deep roots in India. Later, these practices and traditions spread to other Islamic nations. Abd al-Rauf al-Sinki in the 17th century is credited to have brought Sufi Kshatriya tradition to Indonesia from India. It is in this context, Excellency, your idea to bring a high-level ulema delegation, the national treasures, to India is apt and extremely important. As you all are aware, both our countries have been victims of terrorism and separatism, while we have overcome the challenges to a considerable extent. The phenomenon of cross-border terrorism and ISIS-inspired terrorism continues to pose a threat. Cooperation of the civil society is essential in countering the threat from ISIS-inspired individual terror cells and returnees from theaters like Syria and Afghanistan. The ulemas play a very important role in Islamic society. The aim of today's discussions is to bring together Indian and Indonesian ulema and scholars who can take forward our cooperation in promoting tolerance, harmony, and peaceful cooperation. This will bolster the fight against violent extremism, terrorism, and radicalization. None of the ends for which extremism, radicalization, and the misuse of religion are employed are justifiable on any ground. This is a distortion of religion against all of us, which all of us also need to raise our voice effectively. Extremism and terrorism is against the very meaning of Islam, because Islam means peace and well-being. Opposition to such forces should not be painted as a confrontation with the enemy religion. Instead, we should focus on the real message of our religions, which stand for the values of humanism, peace, and understanding. Indeed, as the Holy Qur'an itself preaches, killing one person is like killing all humanity, and saving one is like saving the humanity. Islam ordained that the most excellent form of jihad is jihad afzal, that is jihad against one's senses of ego and not against innocent civilians. We also need to counter disinformation and propaganda that can impede peaceful coexistence among the followers of different faiths. Islam emerged as a rallying point for the disadvantaged and was tolerant in its outlook. After the Prophet's demise, fissures emerged among the caliphs on the question of his legitimate heir. Each faction attempted to outdo the other by espousing a more radical interpretation of the hadiths. It is here that the ulema have a pivotal role to play. They have a leading role in educating the people on the original tolerant and moderate principles of Islam and countering radicalization and extremism with progressive ideas and thought. Our youth should receive special attention towards this end. They are often the primary target of radicalization, but if their energies are nurtured in the right direction, they can emerge as harbingers of change and building blocks of progress in any society. We need to work together to develop common narrative on de-radicalization. In a democracy, there is no place for hate speech, prejudice, propaganda, demonization, violence, conflict, and misuse of religion for narrow ends. While technology is a blessing for humanity, it is also being misused by anti-social elements to spread hatred and for destructive purposes. The ulema must also be adept in the use of technology and utilize various technological solutions to thwart the evil designs of propaganda and hate. In essence lies the disseminating our positive discourse far and wide, and not merely reacting to the agenda set by inimical forces. State institutions also need to come together in detecting and identifying potential negative influences and share information to counter their activities. In this, ulema, due to their deep connect with the civil society, can play a very vital role. We meet at a time of tremendous churn in international relations and uncertainty about the future. It is at such times and countries like India and Indonesia, with their experience of multi-faith harmony and coexistence, can send a joint message to the world to eschew violence and conflict. This will be a powerful symbol of the determination of two large countries. Together, we have 1.7 billion of the world population to preserve and promote the true values espoused by our religions. Together, we should strive to propagate moderate virtues of Islam as a beacon of hope and cooperation for the entire world. Indonesia is a shining example of propagating the concept of interfaith harmony and a home of many faiths and religions like India. This is also reflected in the Bahasa Indonesia word Kerukunam, meaning communal harmony and concord. The title of today's event itself denotes the essence of our intention and discussions. We have a panel of very eminent scholars and professionals from both sides who will enlighten us to aspects relating to continuity and change in Islam over the centuries, experience in maintaining interfaith harmony in society, and measures that can be adopted to counter radicalization and extremism. I look forward to today's discussions. I am hopeful that it will generate a rich discourse and throw up fresh ideas and suggestions to foster a culture of interfaith peace and social harmony in our two countries. I'll be happy to interact with you later in the evening. I wish you all a very pleasant stay in India. Thank you very much.